Okay, so let's preview the fourth round of this season's FA Cup. Now, unfortunately, I missed the entirety of the third round, partly to do with my day job and partly with some technical issues with ITV player not wanting to cooperate. So I missed the Millwall Dagenham game, which is annoying. But let's preview the fourth round. We've got a couple of weeks until the fourth round kicks off on the 7th of February. There's some really interesting ties in here. There's one match that really stands out that I think will be tasty on and off the field. And there are some potential banana skins for some Premier League sides. So, the first match of the fourth round is on the 7th of February. That's Manchester United playing Leicester City. Both these sides are currently struggling in the Premier League. They're not doing very well. Both these sides have sacked and replaced managers this season, and Ruud van Nistelrooy has managed both clubs this season. Currently manager of Leicester City. Both sides are not playing well. It's both sides are not playing well right now. This could be a scrappy affair. Either side could win. I wouldn't be surprised if it went to penalties, for example. Or it could be a very entertaining end-to-end game where goals flying all over the place, where there's a lot of opportunities. It's not scrappy, it's high energy, a lot of action. It's a hard one to tell, but both sides really, they need something to kickstart their season. Manchester United obviously are the holders of the FA Cup. They obviously want to try and retain that silverware. And Ruben Amorim, this will be a big test for Ruben Amorim, considering how things have been stop-start this season and how his start to his time at Manchester United hasn't been great. Ruud van Nistelrooy with Leicester City, much the same. He had a good interim spell at Manchester United, ironically before Ruben Amorim was appointed. Time at Leicester, it's again been a bit stop-start, hasn't really got going. Both these sides could really use some kind of momentum-building victory. So it'll be interesting to see how many players on the squad rotation are used if both managers decide to fully rotate the squad. It could be a good game. It could be a scrappy one. It just whether sides turn up, really. And also a lot can happen between now, the 19th of January, and the 7th of Feb. Leicester might get on a bit of run of form. Manchester United might get on a run of form. And their league position might change. And therefore, going into this FA Cup tie, the situation may have changed in 2-3 weeks' time. The second game to kick off is Leyton Orient Man City. Man City, again, another team having a bit of a struggle lately. Their form hasn't been great, although there are some green shoots that things are slightly improving, but they did have that lengthy losing streak, didn't they? Leyton Orient, potential banana skin, and Leyton Orient at home. Man City are looking vulnerable this season. They're not looking the side that's been all conquering for the last 4 or 5 years. There's a lot of vulnerabilities there. Leyton Orient potentially at home could cause an upset against Manchester City, who are clearly not at the races. It will also be interesting to see how many squad changes Pep makes. Pep, ironically, Man City don't have the best record in the FA Cup since the takeover. The irony of that, they have won the FA Cup the least out of all the trophies domestically that they have competed for. So I find that interesting that they haven't had the best record in the FA Cup. They've made quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals, but they've also got knocked out in earlier rounds by lower league opposition. Remember Will Gregg and Wigan? Leyton Orient could do the same thing here. Leyton Orient at home. Man City, and it's a lunchtime kick-off, so Man City coming down from the north to East London. I think this could be a tricky one. I think Man City potentially could have a banana skin here. Now, the tie of the round for me, and the one that really stands out because of the hatred the two clubs have for each other, is Leeds United versus Millwall. Expect trouble on and off the field. Expect this to be a high-energy, brutal game. Expect red and yellow cards in this game, and expect fan misbehaviour. That's all I'm going to say. This one stands out to me. I think Leeds are favourites. Millwall will not make it easy. It will be a fiery blood and thunder encounter on and off the field, and I think the constabulary up in Yorkshire will be having kittens with the security around this game, considering the history of the match and the rivalry, and there is a lot of history between Leeds and Millwall. Two fan bases don't like each other. There is a high risk of trouble. This could be a televised game. So I'm looking forward to Leeds Millwall. This could be a Blood and Thunder Cup tie. Both championship sides, of course. It's going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Millwall pull off a slight upset. There's going to be an intensity to the game, a real intensity to the game. Both sets of players will be motivated to get stuck in. There will be some foul play here. There will be yellows and reds. There will be a lot of intensity. The atmosphere at Ellen Road will be electric. So that for me is the tie of the round. Doesn't matter all the other matches that are taking place. That for me is the tie of the round. Plain and simple tie of the round. A lot can happen between now and the 8th of February. As I say, it's the 19th of January as I'm recording. But that just stands out straight away. I'm looking forward to that one. Most of these are on the 8th of February. We've got Coventry, Ipswich. Ipswich struggling in the Premier League, Coventry misfiring in the Championship. Much like Man United, Leicester, both teams just need a win to kickstart their season and get some momentum and some confidence going. Ipswich, could they get a key win? I think potentially. I think Ipswich are a better side overall than Coventry, but they are struggling. So look at potential squad rotation there. Will Ipswich want to target this game to get a win and get some momentum, or will they just rotate the squad and more focus on the Premier League? Coventry misfiring in the Championship. That one I think could be a bit interesting because neither side's really in a good position league-wise right now. Preston North End, Wycombe Wanderers. It's an interesting one. The potential's there for an upset with Wycombe. Preston, they've had a stop-start start to the season. Obviously, they've had 3 managers this season. A bit vulnerable. Things have improved somewhat for Preston. They're fair to middling. I think that could be quite an interesting one. Wycombe have a great history in the FA Cup and going on cup runs as an underdog side. Potential for an away win there. Looking forward to it. Stoke City, Cardiff City. This is going to be a bit of a slugfest. All Championship affair. Stoke, the home side. Cardiff coming off the back of the win against Swansea yesterday. So, again, a lot can happen between now and the first weekend in February, but there's some interesting matchups. There are some interesting matchups here. All Championship tie, for example. That one could go to penalties or extra time. It might get done in the 90 minutes. It's all about what strength of squad is put out on the day, what strength of team, starting lineup and bench, because a lot of these, it's the 4th round, a lot of sides may decide to rotate. A lot of managers may decide to rotate. So that's a hard one to call. 2 average Championship sides going toe-to-toe there. That one could be exciting. It could be a bit of a scrappy affair. Southampton, Burnley. I've got to give this one to Burnley. Southampton are plummeted. Southampton are hopeless this season. Burnley are going to win that one. There's not much. That's not a giant killing. Southampton really are so bad this season that Burnley could do that one in their sleep, and it'll be interesting to see the strength of the squad that Southampton put on the field because they are awful this season. Their goal differential is terrible. Burnley are doing really well in the Championship. I hate to say that as a Blackburn fan, but Burnley are doing really well in the Championship this season. I can't see anything other than a Burnley win. And I'm being honest, Southampton are really struggling in the Premier League. Rock bottom, hardly any points. One league win all season. Winning the FA Cup, a handful of wins all season. Confidence low. Burnley, I think, are going to have a field day at St Mary's. Everton, Bournemouth. Everton sack Sean Dyche, bringing David Moyes. Bournemouth doing really well this season. I can see an away win for Bournemouth against Everton. I can see Everton, again, another side struggling at the wrong end of the table. I can see Bournemouth getting a win there. The way Bournemouth are playing, yeah, I can only see one winner with that one. I feel sorry for Everton, but I can only see one winner for that one, honestly. Wigan, Fulham. I think Fulham have enough to comfortably rotate the squad and beat Wigan in this one, although Wigan, again, much like Wycombe, have a great history in this competition as an underdog. Even when they won it, they were an underdog. Even though they were a Premier League side, they've had a great history as an underdog as a lower league side. But I think Fulham have enough to beat Wigan away from home there. Birmingham City, Newcastle. Newcastle want to bounce back from that bad defeat to Bournemouth. A lot can happen in the next couple of weeks. But Newcastle, the way they've been playing this season, and they had a good run of form until Bournemouth beat them, I can see them overcoming Birmingham City away from home. I think Newcastle will have more than enough there. Again, it's just how much rotation Eddie Howe puts through the squad and maybe gives some of the younger players a bit of a run out. But the system's working really well at Newcastle. They're a confident side. They're in decent form, apart from the recent defeat. So I can see that one being a Newcastle winner. Birmingham will be difficult. They won't be easy to beat. They are doing well in League One, but I can see Newcastle just having a little bit too much. The golfing class is clearly there. Brighton versus Chelsea. There's a lot of crossover with these two sides, with players having moved between both sides in the transfer market. I can see this one being a close one. Brighton are very, very good at home. They've got a very good record in this competition in recent seasons, reaching semi-finals and quarter-finals on the regular. Chelsea also have a great record in this competition as well, regularly winning it and reaching the latter stages themselves. I can see this one potentially going all the way to penalties, extra time, that kind of thing. Very hard to call this one. Chelsea have been playing a lot better this season than in more recent seasons under Todd Boehly's ownership. I think they're finally figuring out their best lineup and getting the best out of their players. Brighton, I think, are an underrated side that should not be taken lightly. They've had a bit of a dip in form lately from where they were, but they're in and around the European places. They should not be discounted. They are very good at home. And they've got a good system as well. This one will be a close one, too close to call for me. Blackburn Wolves, as a Blackburn fan, and we are at home, which is a nice thing. Wolves, there has been some improvement since the managerial change, but they are vulnerable. Blackburn are playing very, very well in the Championship, having an above expected season. I think we're doing better than people expect us to do at the start of the season. Wolves could be vulnerable here for an upset. They are misfiring in the Premier League, although there have been some recent improvements since the managerial change. But Wolves will be vulnerable because they have had a tough first half of the season, and Blackburn are playing quite well right now. So potential for a Championship upset over a Premier League side. Plymouth sack Wayne Rooney. They're playing Liverpool, and Liverpool have been a little bit off the boil the last few games, although they did win yesterday. They've had a little bit off the boil with a couple of below expected performances. Plymouth are going to be dangerous. They may be struggling in the Championship, but they're at home. They're going to be dangerous. They've parted company with Wayne Rooney. Liverpool, I think, need to put a strong side out to make a statement and make a statement win. And again, South Coast, the Southwest, in middle of February, the weather can be a bit very changeable. Admittedly, it is a couple of weeks away, the fourth round, but this time of year, the Southwest and Devon, the weather can turn like that. You can get a sea fog, you can get rain, you can get snow, you can get sleet. Plymouth at home will be difficult. And Liverpool, they've had a few little wobbles in the last couple of weeks where they may be winning games, but they're not winning as well as they were in November and early December. January, they've just been a little bit off the boil the last couple of weeks. They need to put a strong lineup out and play potentially their best team, put a statement win out and say, this is what we're all about. Plymouth, going to be dangerous. They're a wounded beast, going to be dangerous. They are struggling in the Championship. They've just sacked the manager. They are going to be dangerous. They should not be discounted. Liverpool need to put a strong lineup out and take this game seriously. Villa Spurs. Spurs are in meltdown at the moment. Aston Villa, up and down a little bit, not quite their best. I think having that Champions League football as well is taxing that squad. But Spurs aren't playing well. This one, I think Villa have a very good chance of getting the spoils here. I think Villa actually are the better side on form as well. Spurs are in meltdown, and Ange Postecoglou, this could cost him his job if he loses this game, personally. Because Spurs still are searching for that elusive piece of silverware since 2008. And Villa, I think, are playing better right now and are in better form, even though Villa have been a bit stop-start lately with that Champions League campaign on top of a domestic league and cup campaign. But I think Villa have enough at home to beat Spurs. The way Spurs are playing right now, they're not playing great. Doncaster Rovers at home against Palace. Palace misfiring in the Premier League, not reaching their potential, but I think they'll have too much for Doncaster Rovers. And I'm being honest, I think they will have too much for Doncaster Rovers. I think Doncaster Rovers will give a good account of themselves at home, but I think Crystal Palace, if they want to get some momentum going, build some confidence, I think they need to put a strong lineup out and go for it. They've got some very talented attacking players at their disposal who can cause problems. It's all about harnessing the best of those players on any given day. They have been a bit misfiring this season, but as I say, there's teams playing a lot worse than them in the Premier League. I think this could be a confidence-boosting win should Palace win it. I think Palace needs to target this game and target the FA Cup for some confidence in the league. And the final game is Exeter City Nottingham Forest. I can see Nottingham Forest having too much for Exeter City, even though Exeter City are at home at the real St James's Park, as I always say, because obviously Newcastle United have the other St James's Park. Even though Exeter City are at home and they're a very decent lower league side, I think Forest, with the way they're playing, the confidence they have, they will be wanting to target the FA Cup as well as a chance to get some silverware. They are also title contenders, and people honestly still don't believe that. I think Forest playing above expected this season, but they're in a rich vein of form. They're really dangerous. They'll be targeting the FA Cup. Look for Nuno to put out a very strong lineup. And again, much like Liverpool, they need to make a statement to their rivals. I can see Nottingham Forest making a few changes potentially just to rotate the squad a little bit, but a very strong lineup. They're going to go for it. And I think Exeter City, they're going to want to stick in the game as long as possible. But for me, Nottingham Forest, they're too confident right now, which could be their weakness, being overconfident, but they're in good form, they're very confident. Exeter City, I think it'd be a hurdle too far to get to the fifth round. As I say, that's the fourth round preview. The one that stands out to me is Leeds Millwall. I'm looking forward to that one, just as a neutral, just for the pure hatred between the two sides and two sets of fans. Manchester United Leicester kick off the fourth round. That could be a scrappy kick off, or it could be a brilliant game. Both those sides are misfiring. Man City misfiring, potentially away at Leyton Orient for an upset. There are some real good ones in there. I think Bournemouth and Newcastle have very good chances to progress to the latter stages. Fulham have a good chance as well to progress. Wolves, potential upset there. Spurs Villa could be make or break for both clubs this season. I think if Spurs lose that game, I think Postecoglou's lost his job. That's my opinion on that one, with where the club's trending with the poor season they're having. Palace, they need to get a win. Again, build some confidence. And Forest and Liverpool, I think, will put strong lineups out against lower league opposition. So there we go. There's my preview of the fourth round of this season's FA Cup. Place your thoughts on the fourth round of the FA Cup. How do you think the results are going to go? And who do you think, will there be upsets in certain games? What will happen with Leeds Millwall? Will there be a riot? Will the game be suspended? Will there be send-offs? And what Premier League and Championship sides will make it to the next round? What lower league sides, like Exeter, for example, will cause an upset? It's a very strong fourth round. There's a lot of Championship and Premier League sides still in the fourth round, so there's a very, very strong upper levels of the Football League and Premier League in the fourth round this season. But what Premier League sides and Championship sides will fail to make it to the fifth round? Place your thoughts in the comments section below. But from me for now, thank you very much for watching, and I will have some more content for you guys very, very soon.